The HOA president thought she could park her shiny SUV across my driveway and order me not to leave my own property. Most folks would have called it tow truck, but me, I fired up my 12-ton tractor and flipped her luxury ride straight into the ditch. And that one move lit a war that nearly cost me everything. Let me tell you a story about the day I decided enough was enough. You ever meet someone so entitled, so blinded by their own imagined power, that they forget the world doesn't actually bend around them? Well, I live next door to that kind of person. Her name, Karen Tyson. She's the president of our homeowners association, and she thought she could park her luxury SUV across my driveway and order me not to leave my own property. What she didn't know was that I don't scare easy. My name is Holt Travis. I'm a farmer, plain and simple. My family has worked this land for 4 generations, and while I may not have the biggest spread anymore, every square foot of this soil is sacred to me. My great-grandfather broke this ground behind a mule. Today, I use a John Deere tractor the size of a small house. That tractor is more than steel and hydraulics. It's history. It's survival. It's justice waiting to be served. And on that Tuesday morning, justice was green, loud, and very, very heavy. But let me back up a little, because this feud didn't just pop out of nowhere. The farm isn't big, but it's mine. A herd of cattle, a barn that smells like hay and oil, and a field of corn that turns gold in September. That's the rhythm of my life. Out here, you work with your hands, you respect your neighbors, and you don't start fights. But if trouble comes knocking, you answer Italiano. Sometimes with a handshake, sometimes with a 12-ton tractor. My wife, Lisa, has always been my anchor. She keeps the books balanced, keeps the farm running smooth, and keeps me from making decisions too quick. She has a way of seeing storms before the clouds even form. And she saw this one coming. See, the HOA had been sending letters. They wanted to build a new subdivision behind my farm, and the only shortcut was right through my best pasture. They called it community access. I called it what it was. A land grab. I ignored the letters. I figured if I didn't feed the fire, it'd die out. But Karen Tyson wasn't the type to let things go. That morning, Lisa called me to the porch. "Holt," she said, voice tight but calm. "You need to see this." I walked out, wiping grease from my hands, and there it was. A gleaming white luxury SUV parked sideways across my gravel driveway like it owned the place. Stuck under the windshield wiper was a note written in sharp, angry handwriting on expensive stationery. It said, "We need to discuss the new community access point. I'll be back at noon. Don't go anywhere. Karen Tyson, HOA. President, don't go anywhere." The arrogance of those 3 words hit me like a punch. My cattle didn't wait for anyone, and I had a load of feed to pick up in town. But this woman thought she could chain me to my own land. I crumpled the note in my fist, looked at Lisa and saw the question in her eyes. I didn't answer with words. I just glanced toward the barn. "The birdhouse camera working?" she asked. "Primera, not dead." She took a sip of coffee, then go ring her bell. I tried the sheriff's office first. The dispatcher shrugged it off. "HOA dispute, we can't touch it." So I walked out to the drive and shouted, toward her house, "Move your car, Karen." No answer, just twitching curtains. Neighbors began to gather. Ed from across the road raised his mug in salute. Mark leaned on the fence like he was at the county fair. "Are you gonna tow or plow?" he asked. "Neither," I said, just taking out the trash. The tractor's engine roared to life, shaking dust from the rafters. That sound deep, growling, relentless is pure power. I rolled it out of the barn, lined up with the SUV, and lowered the forks. I'd lifted hay bales heavier than this car. Oak stumps, tougher than steel. This thing, just another obstacle. With slow precision, I slid the forks onto the frame and lifted. The front end of the SUV rose like a toy. Gasps rippled from the neighbors. Curtains flew open. Blinds snapped. Lisa's voice cut steady through the air. "Slow, Holt. Slow. The SUV tipped up, nose in the air like a begging dog. Then, inch by inch, I eased it toward the ditch that ran alongside the road. Tall grass cattails and 5 feet of mud waited at the bottom. I lowered the forks. Gravity did the rest. The SUV slipped, rolled, and landed nose first in the muck, rear end sticking up like a hog rooting for truffles. The street went dead silent. Then Ed's laugh broke it wide open. Lisa smiled, holding up her phone. "The birdhouse got a perfect angle," she said. I parked the tractor, killed the engine, and walked back to the porch. Problem solved, or so I thought. Neighbor Ed had a dash cam running. By sundown, the clip was online with the title, "Farmer vs. HOA. President Eat Wint Baral. Comments poured in. That tractor's a justice delivery system. Clean lift, cleaner justice." He didn't even scratch it. For one night, it felt like victory. The world cheered while Karen's SUV sat nose-deep in mud. But I knew better. Bullies don't back down when they're embarrassed. They regroup. They plan. They strike harder, and Karen was no exception. 2 days later, a certified letter arrived. Lisa slit it open with her letter opener, read silently, and muttered, "Well, here we go. The HOA fined me $500 for unauthorized machinery use on a residential road, $1,000 for modification of community landscape, and $2,000 for public nuisance, with the viral video as evidence of my aggressive behavior." It was absurd, like being fined by a wolf because its teeth broke on your sheep. Then came the threats. Karen strutted down my driveway with another letter in hand. "Sign the survey permission," she said sweetly, "or the county will sign it for you. You practicing law without a license? Primera asket. Primera asket." "I practice winning," she smirked. "People like you fold. I just picked the crease." Lisa filmed everything from the porch. Karen tilted her head toward the camera and hissed, "This is the day he learns who runs Briarwood." The letters multiplied. The emails got nastier. Karen accused me of lowering property values, threatened endless lawsuits, and even implied she could sic inspectors on my barn. Then the sabotage began. One night, I woke up to silence, where there should be been the steady hum of the diesel transfer pump. Outside, I found the padlock on my fuel tank cut clean off. 500 gallons of diesel, thousands of dollars drained. The next morning, I discovered my cattle missing. The gate wire had been cut. My herd scattered into the night. Panic ripped through me. Those animals weren't just money, they were my responsibility. I called every neighbor I trusted. Ed, Sharon, Mark. We saddled up at TV's trucks, even flashlights, and spread across the fields. The battle for my farm had begun in earnest.